Okay, evening everyone. I'm gonna do my first how-to video, so hopefully this doesn't last too long and you guys get bored of me. But what I'm gonna do is twist up an understory tree. So if you take a look here, this is the smallest type of tree I'm doing, made of two kinds of wire. So this is the thicker wire, which I'll use for the trunk and the support. And then I've also got some of this wire here, which you can buy at the dollar store for I think less than $1. It's 50 meters. You can get it all kinds of colors too, but I just chose black. So I've got a couple trees here I'll show you, I guess, that I've already done. These are the understory trees. This one's my willow tree. This one actually involved a bit more. I actually used a 240 volt 7-strand 12 gauge copper wire to form the base. And there's your 12 gauge there. And then I twisted this around it to make it fatter. And then I still haven't done all the weeping part of it as well. So that's going to be black wire hanging down and with whatever leaves and stuff. Maybe at the end of the video I'll show you the next step that I do after this. But this is forming the base of the willow tree. And then I guess the next size down, this is using standard household wire as the base. So there's 3 sizes here. I just nip off the insulation off the bottom so you can stick it in, drill a hole and stick it in the wood, or if you have foam you can stick it in the foam. So I'm getting this idea from Luke Talon, Boomer Dioramas, and Marklin of Sweden. I'm just kind of combining what I watched on YouTube for those guys. So we'll make a start here. I'm going to just do a small tree, hopefully finish it quite quickly for you guys. First thing I do is I bend up. I want to make a bit more of a substantial base on the tree. And so I'm crushing that. And then I'm going to flip over and form my support. So that little part's going to jam into the foam or the wood. And then I start taking off a big chunk of this stuff. Cut that off. And I find if I separate this, I can get the wire in there, get a good start around the base, and that's my starting point. Okay, now it's just a bunch of twisting. So I'll use my pliers to hold on. And I just go around and around and around until I reach my first limb. And I think I'll do a limb here. Just stab my thumb. Yeah, my fingers are in quite a bit of pain right now from doing all these, plus there's like 6 more in the other room. Anyway, it's not kind on your fingertips. Excuse the blueberry. Made the kids snack before bed, and it stained my hands. So here's a trick. So hopefully you can see this. So I'm going to make a fairly large loop this time, and I'll use my pliers to hold it at the intersection of the tree trunk and the first limb. Squish it down as tight as I can, and then twist as tight as I can. So this is forming the first limb. Okay, so that's your first limb. Doesn't matter if the stuff bends out of the way because you can just bend it back. First limb. Now, here's the trick. I'm going to do a secondary limb right here, which again involves twisting up. Putting pliers on there. Keep this as tight as possible. So I got one loop, and then I'm going to twist this other one that's left over, the bigger one. Twist, 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 twist. Keep these as tight as possible, because once you cut the ends, if it's not tight, then they kind of flop around a bit. And I'll make one more out of this before I start snipping the limbs. What am I going to do here? Let's do this one. Okay, so you just squish it like a pair of Mickey Mouse ears, and then twist as much as you can, and I'll twist this once more. Okay, now I'll follow along with my nippers, and I don't cut these things exactly down the center because I want it to be as random as possible, more natural looking. So I just go slightly off to one side, which leaves me with a branch that's longer than the other. And for these smaller ones, I use the pliers to kind of straighten them out. Okay, so the tree goes this way. And then for these smaller sub-canopy trees, they usually like to get the light as fast as they can, so I kind of like to aim these branches upward. And then with this piece, I do a few laps around here, and then I'll bend this guy out of the way, and I'll continue on up the trunk and do another one. And this one I'll probably make even bigger. So again, I'll use my pliers just to hold the intersection tight. And then I'll, nope, didn't get it that time. Bend that. That's a long enough lead there. And so now I'll bring this in and form another loop. All right, and then I'll do another one here, spreading out as wide as I can, just to keep the wraps as tight as possible. And so another variation is I will leave this one as long or short, and on this tall one, this longer one, I will cross that up a little bit away from there. Hold that tight and twist as tight as I can. And I think I'll cut that now. Again, I don't cut in the center, so I have one branch longer than the other. And I'll make these guys reach for the sky as well. And I still have some left over, so I'll just keep going. Hope everybody's having a good long weekend. In Canada, we have Family Day, or at least on Ontario. I don't know about the rest of the country. Yeah, so we got Monday off. So I'm going to twist up the trunk. And I think you guys get the idea. So I will shape this tree a bit better and just show you where we're at. And maybe I'll move this one around to the other side so it's not on the same side as the other one. So you start getting a good limb structure pretty quickly. And again, this is just an understory tree, so this is like a little sapling. Maybe I will show you some other trees. I'll just give you an idea. So this is like a little guy here. I'll park that one for now. My son came up with an idea just to do the stump. So this tree is broken. What we'll have to do is, I guess, lie something down on the ground. I think I'll just use a real twig for that. And possibly even just use a real twig to show the broken part. This is what my boy wanted to make, one of these. So this one here is a bit more complicated. It takes a little bit more time because it's got the thicker wire as a starting point. And then you wrap this around as a secondary, and then the black stuff is the tertiary, so the smaller limbs. And you start shaping up a tree. It looks pretty good. This one here, let's see. Yeah, so they start, the more you add to it, the better they look, I think, as far as the black wire is concerned. And just to beef up the root structure and stuff. I do have some more advanced trees in the other room, which maybe I'll show in the next video. But this is basically step one of just wiring up the trees to get where I'm going. I do apply white glue and then sawdust on them to fill out the trunks and make everything a bit more smooth. I did spray paint all of these. What would it be? A primer rust color, I guess, just to get rid of the silver and get rid of the black and just make it kind of brownish. Because I don't sawdust the black externals. I want them to be really thin. But the rest of the trunk I do. So anyway, just I blast it all with this color here. You can see it on the foam. And I've got a few. I've got 6 on the layout right now at the second stage, and they make a crazy difference as far as realism goes. So I'll do another video on the next stage of these guys once I get them advanced, and I'll show you guys what that looks like, and then I'll follow these through to completion. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It wasn't too long, and that's what I'm doing. Not too many tools here. I just got some needle nose pliers and some nippers, some thin wire, some thick wire. You could also use a barbecue skewer or a thick barbecue skewer if you wanted as a starting point, depending on the thickness of age of tree you want to do. And just a twisting and cutting. And what I did for some of the more complex trees, I would do some of the black stuff separate, and then I would wind it on to the limbs separately, just so I could work away from the tree, because it gets kind of crazy when you get these more complex trees going. Anyway, those are, I don't know if that's the tips, but that's how I'm doing it. Feel free to share your thoughts and comments, and I hope you guys are having a good weekend. And I'll keep following along, or I'll keep making more videos. So thanks for watching. Have a good evening.